the very source that you cite. And by the way, I'll make all of mine publicly available. Hold on, I'm finishing now. Let's do it like grown-ups. You can cite your sources online. George Floyd riots, not included. Daryl Brooks, Waukesha, not included. Antifa, not included. Man shot dead for voting Trump, not included. Those numbers are not to be trusted, and neither is someone parroting it. I'll answer your question if you answer one of mine.
Steven Crowder appeared on Piers Morgan Uncensored to debate former Congressman Joe Walsh, one of Donald Trump's longtime Republican critics. The conversation quickly turned into a fiery clash as the two argued over political violence, public rhetoric, and the current political climate. Crowder strongly challenged Walsh's claims throughout the exchange, making this one of the most intense moments of the show. Let's watch the clip and see how the debate unfolded.
That the right holds has been presented as violence, including silence, by the way. I know there's a poster behind Joe Walsh right next to his No Kings poster. In other words, if you're pro-life, it's violence against women. If you're against men and women's sports, it's violence against trans, it's genocide, it's erasing them. If you're against Juneteenth as a holiday, it's violence. You're pro-First Amendment, violence because you're inciting violence. You're pro-Second Amendment, violence because you believe people should be able to commit gun violence. And then if we remain silent, that's also violence. And so people deal with the right with violence. Here's my challenge. Find me one example. The Charlie Kirk on the left, not an elected official. I'll allow any speaker, any comedian this century, one example of somebody who was murdered, assassinated, hemorrhaged out in front of his family in cold blood and gleefully celebrated thereafter. And the polls show that a majority, according to YouGov recently, of Democrats think it's somewhat too acceptable. 38%, 77% of Republicans said not acceptable.
Okay, let Joe.
What I'm saying is that Charlie Kirk was hunted. We are being hunted, and I don't want to see any more dead friends. Violence, absolutely. Lawful, ruthless, defensive violence.
Okay, Joe.
Pierce, again. The data is pretty clear, and historically it's been pretty clear that there's political violence on the right and the left in this country for years. And I could argue, and I would argue, but I won't here, that there's historically been more political violence coming from the right. But suffice to say, I think you and I, Pierce, would agree, there's a history of... Hey, Stephen, let me finish, man, please.
Please argue it.
Steven Crowder argues that many beliefs held by conservatives are now labeled as forms of violence by their critics. He points to examples such as opposition to abortion, disagreements over transgender issues, support for the First and Second Amendments, and even staying silent on certain topics. Crowder says these positions are often described as harmful or violent by people on the left. He then challenges Joe Walsh to provide an example of a public figure on the political left being killed and widely celebrated afterward in the same way he believes happened following Charlie Kirk's death. Walsh responds by saying political violence has existed on both sides for many years and argues that everyone should condemn it equally. Crowder disagrees with that framing, saying broad claims need evidence and that individual cases should be judged on their own facts. The discussion becomes increasingly tense as both men refuse to back down.
You can't just make a vague claim and not substantiate it.
Pierce, you and I would agree, for the sake of this conversation, that political violence is in fact a both sides problem. Stephen, you would acknowledge, I think, that there is political violence and there has been political violence on the right as well. So why don't we all just condemn it all? That's what we all should do.
Yeah, no, I don't. I don't agree with the premise. And I'm having to agree with a nebulous premise because you presented no facts. The very source that you cite, and by the way, I'll make all of mine publicly available. Hold on, I'm finishing now. Let's do it like grown-ups. You can cite your sources online. George Floyd riots, not included. Daryl Brooks, Waukesha, not included. Antifa, not included. Man shot dead for voting Trump, not included. Those numbers are not to be trusted, and neither is someone parroting it. I'll answer your question if you answer one of mine after. Go ahead, please.
Melissa Hortman, the Democratic state legislator in Minnesota 3 months ago, gunned down by an anti-abortion Trump supporter. Yes or no?
Wrong. How do I know? Because Vance Bolter, the man who did it, wrote in his letter that it had nothing to do with Trump or being pro-life. He blamed Tim Walz. And here's what you also don't see. Do you see anyone at the Hortman's funerals or vigils spitting on them? or pantomiming being shot in the neck? Did you see anyone celebrating the death of them gleefully?
Yes.
Did you see so many professors
Yes.
doing so, showing children a snuff? Really? Point me to one.
Yes.
Point me to one person spitting at their vigil. Let me guess, you're going to go to Mike Lee?
You taught.
How do I predict everything you say all the time?
Attack.
How?
Donald Trump.
Not the attack.
I would. Okay, let me jump.
Joe Walsh looks frustrated as the debate continues, while Steven Crowder remains confident in defending his position. Crowder argues that when public figures on the political right face tragedy, many conservatives respond with sympathy rather than celebration. He contrasts that with what he believes is a different reaction from some voices on the left after attacks involving conservative figures. From his perspective, this difference is important and deserves more attention. Whether viewers agree or disagree, it is clearly one of the central disagreements driving this debate. I'm interested to hear your opinion, so let me know in the comments where you stand on this issue.
Let me jump in. Let me jump in. Stephen, let me give you an example.
I don't.
Hang on.
Go ahead.
Hang on. I would give an example where the right behaved very badly, and that was over the attack on Nancy Pelosi's husband. I saw the gleeful responses after that from the right, the memes, the mockery, and so on. I thought that was very distasteful. Would you agree, Steve?
If you want to argue an equivalency between a man
I'm not
with a
asking
hammer in his
equivalency.
underwear
I'm not saying
and a
equivalent.
man bleeding out in front of his child,
I'm not saying they're equivocal. I'm just saying it's an example where I felt people on the right showed a complete lack of humanity towards the man who'd been attacked because he happened to be married to Nancy Pelosi, a political opponent. So that it's not like it's not like this has never happened.
I don't agree. I don't think it's even remotely proportional. Let me ask a question here. This is why I'm giving this message, and this is why I hope people listen and protect their own. Joe Walsh, you're there. Since I answered the question, you're there, Utah, in the crowd. It's not a Mouser. It's not a 30-06. But it's a man winding up a milkshake for Charlie Kirk. We don't know if it's strawberry, chocolate, vanilla, acid, or concrete. Do you stop him? Do you hurt him? That hesitation tells me that you are not amongst us.
Hey,
cowards are dangerous to have in their ranks.
Stephen,
So it's not a hypothetical. It's happened.
Let me answer your question.
Do you stop him? Do you hurt him?
I don't understand your question. I'm sorry. I honestly, I don't.
Someone winding up a milkshake to launch at Charlie Kirk. You don't know if it's strawberry, chocolate, vanilla, acid, or concrete. You see him before anyone else does. Do you stop him and hurt him?
Yes. I certainly stop him. I do all I can to stop him, yes.
Good. There's a start. That's what I'm advocating. Every single person out there, because we have been living with this shadow over us. And I know, look, here's the thing too, Joe. I understand your rhetoric. I understand where you're coming from. And I know that you met Charlie when he was 16, as I understand it, right? He was very, very young. And I understand that maybe you were somewhat of a mentor figure. It's because of the failure of Republicans like you that me and Charlie Kirk exist, who are willing to take back the territory that has been conceded, and we are willing to pay with our lives. We shouldn't have to be. Academia, media, press, big tech shouldn't be dominated by the left exclusively all the time. Charlie Kirk shouldn't be out there alone, sitting in that chair, taking on all comers.
Piers Morgan steps in by bringing up the attack on Paul Pelosi, saying he saw many people on the right mocking the incident online. Crowder responds by arguing that he does not believe the situations are comparable. The conversation then shifts to a hypothetical scenario involving someone preparing to throw an object at Charlie Kirk during a public event. Crowder asks Walsh whether he would physically stop the person before they could act. Walsh says he would absolutely try to stop the attack. Crowder agrees with that response and says everyone should act to prevent political violence before it happens. Although they continue to disagree on many broader issues, both acknowledge that violent attacks against public figures should be stopped whenever possible.
He shouldn't be inspired by people like me, who are comedians. He should have been inspired by people like you. Instead, he was inspired to go the other way. Maybe that's why he said he sold his soul for Donald Trump before the body was cold. Still want to do the no true Scotsman, holier than thou thing?
And Stephen, I'm assuming you would do the same, correct? If somebody were throwing a chocolate milkshake at a left-wing speaker, correct?
No, the reason I bring it up is because we didn't. We didn't, and I've had them launched at me.
Would you, Stephen?
And the reason...
Would you?
No, I didn't. I didn't,
Would you?
And now I would. Now I would. Because now I would. Yes. Have I answered the question? Yes. Now I would, and I advocate that everybody else do the same by any means necessary. Yes.
Stephen, common ground. You and I, two Americans, would both stop any politically violent attack on any public figure or speaker that we saw. You and I agree to that. And you and I hope we'll both agree that we should condemn all political violence. End of story.
I am condemning, of course, all political violence. It is coming from one side, and the prescription is ruthless, aggressive, defensive, lawful violence on anyone who justifies.
Steven Crowder closes by saying he condemns all political violence, regardless of who commits it. However, he argues that the examples he is focused on mainly involve attacks against conservatives, which is why his criticism is directed there. Joe Walsh continues to insist that political violence is a problem across the political spectrum and should be condemned equally. Their disagreement remains unresolved, but it creates one of the most heated exchanges of the discussion. Let me know what you think about the debate between Steven Crowder and Joe Walsh on Piers Morgan and Censored. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss our next upload.